Well, the author Darke bought a house in Syria, which is now being used as a place of refuge. She talks about this in her book, My House in Damascus, an inside view of the Syrian revolution. Darke, thank you so much for being with us here on Arise News. So, well, let's start with you and your background. You're British, so what drew you to Syria?
It's because it's the birthplace of civilization. I'd always been fascinated by that part of the world. I studied Arabic at university, and I was just always fascinated by that part.
So you went there to do what? To live, to study?
I was there being trained up in Arabic, actually, originally. I was working for the British government as an Arabic linguist, and so part of my training involved me being there, and it was in the middle of the Lebanese Civil War.
So this is what year?
This was back in '75, and because of the Civil War, you had to go and travel in Syria and Jordan. So I had my little car, my deux chevaux, in those days, and so I just jumped in my car and went off and explored Syria, and that's when the sort of love affair with Syria began, really.
And so you went off to Syria, fell in love with the country. What about the country attracted you?
Well, the incredible range of archaeological sites, you know, the fact that it covers so many, you know, right from Bronze Age right through, you know, Hellenistic sites. I've always loved ancient ruins, and but everything is just there, and everything's sort of lived in, and the people themselves are so welcoming and dignified, and it's just an easy place to travel. It was always such an easy, open place to travel. And
you ended up buying a house, so what was the plan there?
Well, that was an opportunity, if you like, that came my way when I was researching a guidebook, the Brat Guide to Syria, and so that was years later, obviously, and I discovered quite by chance that it was possible for a foreigner to come in and buy a chunk of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I thought, well, this is amazing. You know, this will be my contribution to the heritage, you know, of the country, because you know, lots of these houses were falling down, and the government never had enough money to restore them. So I saw this as my contribution, really.
So again, this is what year?
This was 2005.
And so you bought this house. What was the plan then? What were you going to do with it?
I had no idea. I didn't know. I just was following my nose. I was following my nose. I bankrupted myself in the process, really? Pretty much. I just thought, this is once-in-a-lifetime chance. I've got to take it. I don't know where it's going to lead, but I viewed lots of properties, you know, but this one was the one that definitely had a magic about it for me right from the start. And so I knew I had to do it, and all the obstacles that were presented along the way, Syrian friends helped me through, and I just found ways through it. You know, I knew it was a sort of destiny feeling in a way, that I knew it had to happen.
and you bought and renovated this house, which I suppose drew you much closer into dealing with Syrians and dealing with Syrian culture.
Well, yeah, I became deeply embedded in Syrian culture. You know, I had a Christian bank manager, I had an architect, you know, Sunni architect, all the local people, obviously, all of them. I had a Kurdish lawyer. You know, a whole range of people from all levels of society, and it was just me and them. You know, I didn't have any contacts. I wasn't under the wing of anybody. It was just me as an individual, and everybody helped me all the way along the way.
These days, Syria, when it hits the headlines, tends to be viewed very much through the lens of war.
Yeah.
At that time, but as you were just telling us there, you were getting to know people. Yeah. Give us an idea. Give us an idea of day-to-day life in a peaceful Syria. Give us an idea of what it was about that country that you fell in love with.
Well, it's the approach of people to life, actually, I think is what's so unusual, that they have this incredible sense of humour, for a start. I mean, and even now, and I was there just recently in December, in spite of everything, you know, when they've only got, you know, 4 hours of electricity a day and very, very restricted living conditions, you know, they're laughing. I mean, everybody's laughing. I mean, it's a way of coping, admittedly, but you know, being a Syrian for the last 40 years even has not been easy. You know, they've been living under quite a tight system, but they've always found a way. They're very creative, imaginative people, and they have this terrific sense of humour. And that's what gives me hope, you know, for the future of Syria.
So you finished renovating the house in which year?
It took 3 years, so it was finally finished 2008, 2009.
And invited some friends over? Invited some friends to stay?
Well, lots of people came and stayed, yes. Yes, I mean, the house was always in use, and I rented out the top floor as a guest house for an Aga Khan restoration project that was going on. So that was all working beautifully. until the revolution began, obviously, and then everything had to change.
Explain to us how it affected your life and how you came to leave Syria.
Well, obviously things became much more difficult for foreigners. All the embassies closed down, you know, there was... and also I had a sense of the fact that, you know, I didn't need to be in my house, whereas other people whose homes were being destroyed in the suburbs suddenly had nowhere to live. So I thought it was only sensible for me to offer them my house, you know, and so at one stage up to sort of 40 or 50 people were actually taking shelter in the house.
And who were these people?
My friends, you know, a whole range of people who lived in the suburbs and were just unlucky enough to live in places that were being bombed. No political involvement at all.
And you moved out?
Yes. I mean, I didn't need to be there anymore. Yes. I mean, there was nothing more I could do. You know, my tourism had always been, you know, my main involvement with the country. So obviously, when all that collapsed, you know, there was no point for me to be there anymore. And so,
but you'd bankrupted yourself getting this house and renovating it,
yeah.
and having renovated it, you then leave it. How did you feel about that?
Yes, but it's never been about the money. You see, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's on a much sort of deeper level than that, and it's something that I've always felt is a sort of something that has to be used for Syria by Syrians, and that's why when my lawyer actually went bad, as it were, and suddenly started kicking out all my friends, he wrote some ridiculous security report saying I was a terrorist and that I had links with armed groups. And on the strength of that, my friends were actually arrested, and, you know, some of them were even tortured. It was an awful thing, but it's incredible to think this. And so when I heard about all of this, I had to go back, basically, and try to repossess the house, because he had taken it over with his mistress, essentially. Their baby was born in the house. You know, they were kind of lording it over it, having stolen it, essentially. And they never expected me to come back. They never thought I'd get a visa to go back. But I did, and I gave them the shock of their lives. And we had an incredible roller coaster fortnight where I was getting back into the house because my keys still worked. They never thought I was coming back, so I literally just walked in. And then we had a sort of, you know, they kept breaking in. Every time I changed the locks, they would break back in again.
That's quite a story.
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming here to Arise News to tell us.
Yeah.
Darke, thank you so much.